Sit down, Dad said, already gripping the edge of the table like it had done something wrong. I sat. My hands were sweaty. Caleb stared at his plate. Melinda sipped her wine like this was just another evening. You want to explain this? Dad threw my report card across the table. Sees 1D. What? You think this is acceptable? I'm trying. I swear I'm trying. His voice rose. Try harder. You're 17, not 7. I work my ass off to feed you, and this is what you bring me? I didn't fail, I said. Just one class, one is too many. Do you think colleges care how many you passed? You think the world gives a damn? Melinda let out a soft laugh. Greg, maybe he just isn't. Built for academics? I looked at her. I didn't ask you. What did you say? Dad's chair screeched as he stood. That's how you talk to your stepmother now. She's not my mother. You're right, Melinda said, putting her wine glass down. No mother would raise something so ungrateful. I'm not ungrateful. I didn't ask to be here. Yet here you are, she snapped. Eating food we pay for. Living under our roof, failing school like it's a sport. Dad stepped closer. You want to be a man? Fine. Go be one. Pack your stuff. What? You heard me? You want to talk like a man? Then live like one. You're out. Gregory Caleb whispered. Shut it, Caleb, Dad barked. I stood. My knees trembled. You're serious? I've never been more serious in my life. You're a disgrace. You don't belong in this house. Melinda smiled. We'll call if any mail comes. Caleb opened his mouth, then closed it again. He looked like he wanted to say something. He didn't. I ran upstairs. Every step echoed, like a countdown. I threw stuff into my backpack, shirt, phone charger, old hoodie. That was it. My whole life in a bag. When I came back down, Dad didn't look at me. Melinda did. Don't expect us to come running when you fail out there. 2! I wanted to scream. I didn't. I walked out the door, and no one followed. The night air punched me in the chest. I walked for hours. My feet hurt. My stomach growled. I passed houses glowing with warm lights, families laughing inside. I sat on a bench near the park. Just me in the dark. This can't be real, I muttered. This can't be my life. My phone buzzed. Cal, sorry. I stared at the message. That was it. Just sorry. I typed back. Don't be. You didn't push me out. He did. I didn't hit send. Instead, I curled up on the bench. No pillow, no blanket. Just my bag for warmth and the stars for company. And that was it. That was the night I stopped being someone's son and started being nobody asterisk. You can't. Sleep here, kid. Move along. I'm not hurting anyone, I said, blinking into the flashlight. That's not the point, the officer muttered. Get moving before someone calls it in. I grabbed my bag and walked. My stomach hadn't stopped growling since yesterday. I passed 3 restaurants, stared through glass, watched people laugh over fries. A man tossed $1 at me like I was trash. Get a job, punk, someone else muttered. I'm 17, I whispered, but no one cared. I sat outside the library. It was warm inside. I didn't need a book. I just needed heat. Hey. There, a soft voice said. I looked up. An old woman with silver hair and a red scarf smiled down at me. You like to read, I guess? I said, pulling my knees up. Not much else to do. She tilted her head. What's your name? Does it matter? It will someday. I'm Mrs. Hawthorne. I run this place. I shrugged. She stepped back and held the door open. Come in, no questions. Number. Judgment. I followed. Inside, the warmth hit me like a hug I hadn't had in years. Bookshelves stretched like walls of safety. It didn't smell like dust. It smelled like hope. She handed me a cup. Chamomile, she said. You look like you need sleep more than speed. I took it. Why are you being nice to me? Because I've seen that look before. I used to wear it too. I didn't know what that meant, but I nodded. She walked away, then turned. Pick a book. Doesn't matter which one. Let it keep you company. I wandered down an aisle and grabbed something about survival stories. I didn't open it. I just stared at the cover until my eyes stung. The next day I came back, and the next, and the next. "You're early," Mrs. Hawthorne said, smiling. "I didn't sleep last night." She handed me toast and jam, then read something light. "Nothing about war or loss. Do you always feed stray kids?" "No. Just the ones who remind me of myself." One afternoon, a boy about my age sat beside me. His hoodie was dirtier than mine. "You live out here?" he asked. I nodded. "You since I was 15, Mama, Dad's gone. Just me in the streets." "What's your name, Shane?" I paused. "Nobody." He laughed. "Same." We talked for an hour. Then he stood. "I gotta run. Some guy's offering $50 to move boxes." "Probably sketchy, but food's food." "Be careful," I said. "I'm always careful." He winked. He never came back. "Where's your friend?" Mrs. Hawthorne asked the next day. I didn't answer. She just nodded. Some stories end early. That night, I opened the survival book. I read every page. The next morning, I asked, "Do you have anything about courtrooms?" Her eyes lit up. "I thought you might ask that." From then on, she brought me case studies, memoirs, old newspapers. "Why are you helping me?" I asked again. She smiled. "Because one day someone will need your help too, and you'll remember this." I held that sentence like a prayer. One night as I left, Officer Ramirez passed me again. "You still hanging around here?" "I'm learning," I said. He raised an eyebrow. "From books? From life?" I replied. He didn't say anything else. I slept under the library awning that night with a legal textbook in my hands. I wasn't warm. I wasn't full. Right. But for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel invisible. "Can you mop a floor without whining?" "Yes, sir." "Can you scrub a toilet without gagging?" "Done worse," I muttered. The manager raised an eyebrow. "How old are you?" 18. "Liar, but you work hard." "I won't ask again." That was how I got the job. Midnight shifts. Grease on my shoes. Grease in my soul. "New kid, Lisa," the waitress called. Floors sticky. Customers slipping. I just mopped it. Then mop it again. I sighed and grabbed the bucket. Every night was the same. Trash, dishes, gum under tables. I didn't care. I needed the cash. "You ever sleep?" Lisa asked one night. "Sleep's expensive." She stared at me. "You homeless?" I didn't answer. She didn't push. One night while refilling. "Napkins," the bell above the door rang. I didn't look up. "To coffees, please," Black a voice said. I froze. That voice. I turned my head slow. Caleb and next to him Dad. I ducked behind the counter. "You good?" Lisa asked. "No," I whispered. "What?" "Can you take that table?" "Why?" "I think that's my dad." She peeked. "The guy with the cop." "Haircut," I nodded. "You serious?" "Yeah, don't say anything." "Please." Lisa shrugged. "Fine, but you owe me." I hid in the back, scrubbing trays that didn't need scrubbing. "Your kid work here?" I heard her ask. "Yeah." "My son's too busy failing out of life," Dad replied. I bit my lip. "Still not talking to him?" Caleb asked. "What's there to talk about?" He chose to walk out. I clenched the sponge in my hand. Walked out. "I miss him," Caleb said quietly. Dad scoffed. He had his chance. Throat burned. I wanted to scream. "You threw me out." But I stayed hidden. The bell rang again. They were gone. Lisa walked in. "You okay?" "No. They didn't see you. They don't have to." I saw them. She leaned against the wall. "You want them to regret it?" "Yes. And don't cry back here. Rise out there." I nodded. "They'll see me again." Lisa smirked. "Damn right they will." I scrubbed that counter like it owed me something. That night, walking back to the alley I slept in, I looked up at the stars and whispered, "They'll see me again. But next time, they'll bow their heads." "Pass me that highlighter," Jordan said, half asleep on the floor. "Which one?" "You've got 6. Green means hope. I need hope." I tossed it at him and kept reading. Case law blurred before my eyes, but I didn't stop. "You ever sleep?" he asked. "Barely. Man, you're obsessed. I have to be still thinking about them. I looked up every day. Professor Malik slammed my paper down. Too emotional. Where's the logic I was making? A moral argument? You're not a preacher. You're a lawyer. Rewrite it. I rewrote it. 10 times. Each one sharper than the last. You're improving, he finally said, months later, thanks to your abuse. He grunted. You're still soft. But you're getting sharper. At night, I stared at Shane's old drawing folded in my wallet. A stick figure with a crown. He once said, I'd rule the world with books. I won't let you down, I whispered. Why do you keep that thing? Jordan asked. It reminds me who I'm doing this for. You mean yourself? Everyone who was ever ignored. One afternoon, I got a call from Mrs. Hawthorne. A foundation liked your essay, she said. They're offering a scholarship. I didn't speak. You still there? Yeah, I didn't think this was real. It's real. You made it real. I worked 3 jobs that summer. One for rent, one for food, one for textbooks. You know, this isn't normal, Jordan said. Neither was being homeless. He raised a brow. Fair. By graduation, I was top of my class. On our last night in the dorm, Jordan asked, what are you going to do now? Apply for everything? Fight for every seat? Even judge programs? One day, yeah, you're insane. Wins. Weeks later, I got an email. Judicial internship. Downtown. I stared at it for hours. Professor Malik called me in. You've been selected. I thought they only picked rich kids. They usually do, he said. But your file screamed louder. I bought a black coat from a thrift store. Jordan laughed. You look like Batman's broke cousin. I'll take it. The night before my first day, I stood in the campus bathroom mirror, coat on, folder in hand. You look ridiculous, I told my reflection. Then I took a breath. No, I said. You look like someone they can't ignore. I walked out holding Shane's drawing inside my folder. Not for luck. For purpose. Now, I whispered. They'll listen. Asterisk, you sure you're ready for this? Jordan asked, straightening my tie. No. Too late to back out now. First case, and it's a public defense gig. They said no one else. Wanted it, he smirked. Figures, homeless kid, no alibi. You'd have a lot in common. I stepped into court. Eyes followed me like I didn't belong. You the intern? The court clerk asked. No, I'm the defense. And she blinked. Oh, you single. Quotes. Yeah, I'm him. The prosecutor looked me up and down. Where's your supervisor? He trusts me. Is the judge? He will. The client sat shackled, bruised, staring at the floor. You believe? Me? He asked. I do? You don't even know me. I don't need to. I've been you. He stared at me, confused. I didn't explain. There wasn't time. In opening statements, I fumbled. My mouth went dry. The jury blinked. The judge tapped his pen. Take a breath, I whispered to myself. You're not the boy on the bench anymore. I started over. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not just about a missing wallet. It's about who we choose to listen to. The courtroom shifted. The prosecutor laughed. You're asking us to believe a thief? I'm asking you to see him, I shot back. Not his hoodie, not his record. Him. The judge raised an eyebrow at recess. My client leaned in. You talk like you've been kicked around, I have. Guess that's why you don't flinch. I learned not to. Final arguments. I poured everything into that closing. Maybe you think this case is small, I said, but to him, this is everything. If you condemn him without care, then you're no better than the system that forgot him. Silence. No coughs. No shuffling. Just quiet. The verdict came the next day. Not guilty. I didn't move. My client looked at me, eyes wide. I'm free. You're free. He hugged me. I let him. Outside, the judge called me over. You have fire, he said. Thank you, Your Honor. Apply for the clerkship. What? Someone who remembers what it's like to be down there. I nodded, stunned. You earned it, he added. I swallowed. I'm trying to... As I walked out, I saw him, my father, security badge on his chest, clipboard in hand, stood by the metal detector watching me pass. His mouth opened slightly. Recognition flashed. I didn't stop. "Hey," he called. I kept walking. He didn't. Follow. Karma had clocked in, and it was just getting started. Asterisk your robe straight, Judge, the bailiff said. Thanks, I replied, straightening my papers. You nervous? First trial's a big deal, not nervous. Ready? The courtroom doors opened. People filtered in. Attorneys whispered. The court clerk gave me a nod. Case 07D, State. V. Merrill, domestic battery. Witness has arrived. I looked up and froze. He walked in slower than I remembered. Gray hair, bent posture, eyes scanning the room like he was lost. Gregory, my father. Witness, please state your name for the record, the clerk said. Gregory Langston, he replied. His voice was quieter now. It echoed like thunder in my chest. I kept my face neutral, hands still. He didn't look at me yet. Mr. Langston, the defense attorney, began. Can you describe what you saw that evening? He cleared his throat. I was doing security checks when I heard yelling. I went to the apartment door and he paused. Finally, his eyes met mine. His mouth parted slightly, skloot, then blinked. Judge Langston. He whispered too softly for the mic. I didn't move. He looked pale. You're my son, he said again, barely above a breath. Silence filled the room. I looked down at my file. Please continue, I said. Crack. He stared for a few more seconds. His hands trembled slightly. Then he turned back to the attorney. I saw the man shove her. I reported it. Thank you, the attorney said. No further questions? Cross-examination? I asked, shifting to the defense. They declined. Very well, I said, flipping the page. Witness may step down. He stepped back slowly. His eyes stayed on me the whole way. The prosecutor leaned toward the bench. Your Honor, next witness is delayed. May we request a 10-minute recess? Granted, I said, banging the gavel. Softly as the courtroom cleared, he approached the bench hesitantly. Son, he said. I looked at him once. Just once. You came all this way to speak? I asked. I didn't know, he said. I swear, I didn't know it was you. I know, I said quietly. You never did. He opened his mouth. Don't, I cut in. This is not your moment. I'm sorry. I'm not here for your apology. I didn't think you'd survive out there. I fought. He looked down. You're a judge. I said nothing. I messed up, he whispered. I see that now. I gathered my papers. Case, please. He didn't move. I stood and walked past him. He didn't follow. That silence? That was justice. Asterisk Judge Langston, the clerk called. That's it for today. I nodded and stepped out of chambers. The sun was brutal. The hallway echoed with footsteps and stale vending machine air. I loosened my collar, heading for the side exit. Then I saw him, leaning against the concrete pillar. Same faded uniform shirt, older now. His arms were crossed like he had something to say, but wasn't sure if he had the right to say it. Son, no, I said, walking past. Please. I stopped. Make it quick. I made a mistake. I turned. Which one? Throwing you out. Believing Melinda. Not calling. Not checking. All of it. I stared at him. Why now? I didn't know you'd become this. I blinked. Slowly? You mean useful? No, I mean powerful. Respected. If I wasn't? He didn't answer. I stepped closer. If I was still sleeping on benches, would you be here? He looked down. I don't know. Then we're done. I was wrong. You were cruel. I thought I was doing the right thing by abandoning me. You were failing. I was 17, not broken. He swallowed. You're right. Crossed my arms. Did you rehearse this? He looked at me. I'm trying. Too late, I said. I wanted to say it. I wanted to hear it. Years ago I wasn't ready, I was. He stepped forward. Is there a chance any? For what? To be your father again? You never were? He winced. You really hate me that much? No, I don't feel anything at all. He sighed. I regret everything. Regret doesn't rebuild, I know. You don't get to feel better just because you said sorry. I'm not asking you to forgive me. Then what are you doing here? Just wanted to look you in the eyes. One more time. Stared at him. He waited then. I said, now. You've seen me? He nodded slowly. I turned, walking toward the street. Behind me, he stayed still. Silent. That was his apology, and that was enough for me to walk away. LinkedIn message. Proud of you, man. Really? Caleb, I stared at the message for a long time before replying. Want to get coffee? He answered in under a minute. Yeah, anytime. We met at a quiet cafe near the courthouse. He looked taller. Somehow, but maybe that was just time playing tricks. Still drink caramel lattes, I asked. He smiled. Shh, yeah, thought you'd remember. Hard to forget when you spilled one on my math book. He laughed. I did do that. We sat. For a minute, neither of us spoke. Just silence and steam rising from paper cups. You look, ... official, he said, motioning to my blazer. Comes with the robe, you really made it. Why? Did you message me? I asked. I've wanted to for years. I didn't know if you'd even answer. Why wouldn't I? Because I didn't say anything back then. I leaned forward. You saw what happened? You heard what he said? I know. I froze. I wanted to speak up, but Dad scared me. Scared me too. But I didn't stay quiet. I was the good son, he whispered. The one who followed the rules. I kept my head down. And I got thrown out for speaking up. I know. He looked at me, eyes heavy. I envied you, man. What? You got out. You fought back. I just stayed behind and let it all happen. I studied him. I thought you hated me. I never hated you. I hated that I didn't have your courage. You think I felt brave? Was terrified every day. But you didn't let that stop you. You didn't try to stop Dad either. I know, he said again. And I'm sorry for that. I sat back. I used to wish you'd said something. Anything I should have. I was 15. I didn't know how. I was 17. I didn't know either. We both went quiet again. I missed you, he said. I missed who we used to be. Before everything. I don't blame you if you still hate me. I don't, I said. I just stopped expecting anything. That's fair. I used to wonder why you didn't text, didn't reach out. I wanted to, one times. But I thought, would you want to hear from me? I looked him in the eyes. Because we were brothers. That never changed. I don't know how to fix things. You don't need to fix it, I said. Just don't disappear again. He nodded slowly. Deal. We sat there until our cups were empty and the sun dipped lower. As I stood, he reached for his wallet. I've got it, I said. Still the big brother, huh? I guess. I always was. Outside, we paused. I'm glad you messaged me, I said. I should have done it sooner, but you did it now, he smiled. We're not enemies, are we? No, I said quietly. We never were. Atch. Langston, my assistant called, holding an envelope. This came by courier marked personal. I took it, saw the handwriting, and froze. I need cursive. Faded ink. From the estate of Eleanor Hawthorne. My throat tightened. I shut my office door before opening it. Inside was a letter and a folded document. To my favorite library squatter, it began. I laughed, and my eyes stung. If you're reading this, I'm probably annoying angels by organizing heaven's bookshelves. Of course you are, I whispered. I watched you grow from a boy with nothing into a man with purpose. I never told you, but I always believed you'd outrun the shadows. You didn't just escape them, you lit your own way. I sat down. Paper shook in my hands. I'm leaving you the chair. The one you always picked in the corner. The one with a worn cushion and squeaky leg. You once called it the safest place on earth. May it remind you how far you've come. I wiped my face. I hadn't cried in years, not like this. There was a second envelope taped to the back. A key. A sticky note. Check under the seat. I drove there that night. The library was closed, but I had the key. I stepped. Inside, dust floated through the soft light from the windows. It smelled the same old pages, warm wood, peace. I found the chair, corner, left side, tucked between fiction and law. I sat in it, slowly, still squeaky. I reached under the seat. My fingers brushed something taped to the wood. A folded card. I pulled it out. It said, "I knew you'd make them see who you really are." I exhaled. "Thank you," I whispered. I stayed there for an hour, saying nothing, just breathing. Before I left, I locked up, took the chair, and drove it back to my chambers. Next morning, the clerk noticed, "New furniture, Judge." "Old," I said, "very old." She smiled. "Looks ... meaningful." "It is." I placed the card on my shelf. Beside my law degree, it didn't say honor or achievement, but it meant everything. She believed in me before I did, and she never asked for anything in return. That's the kind of power no robe can give. Asterisk Judge Langston. "Your 10 a.m. is seated," the bailiff said. I nodded, pulling the robe over my shoulders. The weight of it never got lighter, but I never wanted it to. "Docket ready?" "Yes, sir." "Witnesses present. Public seating full today." I stepped through the doors. The courtroom hushed. "Good morning," I said, settling into the bench. "Let's proceed." Names were read, motions made. The law moved forward, steady and cold. Then I felt it. A shift. Presence. I glanced toward the back. Ron saw him. Gregory, my father. Quiet. Small in his seat. No clipboard. No badge. Just a folded program in his hand. Watching, I turned back to the file in front of me. "Double quotes, counselor, please approach," I said. "We need to clarify the timeline." The attorney stepped forward, confused. "Your Honor, is an inconsistency. In your statement, let's not waste the court's time." He flinched, nodded. "Of course, sir," we resumed. 30 minutes passed. I didn't look back. Not once. At recess, I returned to chambers, closed the door, stared at the full length. Mirror behind the desk, same face, same eyes, but everything else, different. I touched the collar of my robe. "You're not that kid anymore," I said softly. The mirror didn't answer. "You're not the boy begging to be seen." I took a breath. "You made it." A knock, Judge. "Give me a moment," I called. Outside, I knew he was still sitting there. Maybe waiting for a nod, a glance, anything. But this time, I owed him nothing. I smoothed my sleeves, squared my shoulders, faced myself one last time. "I'm not what he made me," I whispered. What he never thought I could be, and for the first time since that night on the park bench, smiled.